I use two image models almost every week, ChatGPT and Gemini's Nano Banana. I'll tell you right up front, I have a favorite. It's ChatGPT. It's the one I reach for the most. It's the one that I think works better. But here's the thing though, recently I have been having a few problems with the quality of my images. And honestly, I have never tested out my theory that ChatGPT is still the better image model, especially with some of the more recent Nano Banana updates. So I started wondering, is ChatGPT still the better image model, or is that just my own bias? So that's what we're doing today. I'm taking my favorite model and putting it on trial. 5 rounds, thumbnails, logos, photo edits, the kind of thing that I do every week. The same exact prompts are going into both the models. I had Claude write them so the wording is identical, no thumbs on the scale. And honestly, I don't know if my favorite is going to survive this. So for each of these prompts, I'm not going to read them out loud. I will show the prompt on the screen briefly. You can pause the video if you're curious what exactly the prompt was. Okay, so for the first test, I did something that I've actually tried to create and have the images just fail constantly on me. And that's taking a word and making it into like a stylized photo. For this particular one, I wanted to take the word Codex and make it look like a jigsaw puzzle with a piece missing, as though it was just about to be dropped right back in. And here's what I got from ChatGPT. So this genuinely surprised me because it completely missed the mark. I mean, it is a wooden puzzle and it has sort of jigsaw qualities and it does have a missing piece, but as you can see, that piece, there's no way on earth that would fit in, and it's not really completing the puzzle in any meaningful way. So I would say this kind of failed. But here's what Gemini gave me. This is almost perfect. It's got the word Codex, it's a jigsaw puzzle. The X is clearly a piece of the puzzle that would fit into this negative space and would complete the puzzle, with the minor exception of these little puzzle cutouts. So it does give it that jigsaw puzzle feel, but it's not matching over here on the X. But aside from that, this is totally usable. I would definitely put this in a video. This even gave us a little bit of shadow here on the bottom. I have to say, that surprised me, and it's pretty nice. So point to Gemini. Okay, next up, I'm looking for a logo dropped into the middle of a scene. I do this for B-roll a lot of the time. And this one, I'm asking for the Claude Code logo, that little like asterisk thing, as a campfire with some like Claude Code developers. So this is the ChatGPT image. And this, I have to say, nailed it. For some reason, I have the most trouble with these kinds of images. When I request something with a specific logo or an icon in it, it seems like I've been having trouble getting good results lately. But this, I have to say, like just the glow from the campfire of the Claude asterisk, it's kind of lighting up their faces. I think the Claude Code hoodies are a super nice touch. And all in all, I just really like the feel of this. I love the sort of embers shooting off of the Claude Code campfire. Very nice. That's definitely a point for ChatGPT. And then this is what Gemini gave me. Now, overall, I actually really like the aesthetic. I love the kind of cartoon character guys in the semi-photorealistic background, but this is the problem that I have all the time when I'm trying to generate these images. It's like the logo gets just slapped on top of what would otherwise be a normal photo. So it's not like the fire is the Claude Code little spark. It's just like it's sitting on top of a campfire. Otherwise, everything looks really good, but that would keep me from using it, to be honest. That just is a little bit too AI slop for my tastes. Next up, another sort of logo scene. I'm looking for a Google Gemini logo as like a big crystal embedded in a cave wall with miners kind of mining away at that blue Gemini crystal. So here's the ChatGPT image. On the plus side, I will say they kind of nailed that Gemini logo. That is, to me, definitely identifiable as a Gemini type crystal, if I was talking about Gemini otherwise. But everything else is actually really good, but all the details are so tiny, they're actually getting lost in the image. Like there are miners and you can see they're clearly working away at the wall, kind of, but none of them are actually working directly on the crystal, which is what we asked for. And you really have to zoom in to see them. You can see this guy, but otherwise you wouldn't necessarily identify this as a scene with a bunch of miners working away at a crystal. So they got the logo really well, but the overall vibe, not so great. And so here's Gemini. And I actually do think this is really funny that they did not do the Gemini logo like I asked for. They did the Google G, which is technically a Google logo. So, I mean, it's kind of close, and there is sort of that sparkle shape in the middle, but it's not quite right. However, they got the rest of the pieces right. Like, you can definitely tell there's miners working away. They're definitely in touch with the actual crystal. So it followed the directive just a little bit better. The overall feel of the picture is really much closer to what I'm looking for. I even love this shaft of light coming down to sort of illuminate the crystal on the side. So I think this one's kind of a toss-up. I would maybe have to give the edge to Gemini here, but it's not the logo I asked for. So this one's a little tricky. Okay, so the next category of thing that I tend to do, and you probably do this a lot too, is you upload a photo. You want to keep the photo the same, but you want to add something to it. Make it silly, enhance it a little bit. In this one, I just took a picture of a coffee mug and I asked it to make it look like a green glowing potion on the inside with smoke or steam and magical sparkle effects. You know, something just fun and silly that you might send to a friend, or I might use it as B-roll in a video. And this is what I got from ChatGPT. And it is fine. I would say this is solid. This one was a pretty simple request, but it really did give me what I asked for. There's some kind of bubbling potion in here. It's green, there's steam, and there's, it's just a hint of sparkles you can kind of see up there. Nothing spectacular, but definitely solid. And this is what I got from Gemini, which at first glance looks pretty similar. We've got the green bubbling potion, some sparkles, and some smoke. But I think when I put them side by side, you can really see the comparison. This is ChatGPT on the left and Gemini on the right. And I think to me, this is where Gemini stands out just a little bit. It's got, I want to say, an effervescent magical quality, just a little bit more here. This one feels a little bit more magical. I think it's the sparkles are just a little bit more pronounced over here, a little bit more enhanced. So again, nothing wrong with the ChatGPT one. It's very solid, but overall, the Gemini one I thought did a better job. Again, point to Gemini. That one kind of surprised me. Okay, next up is another pretty common category where I take something that's well known and I try to inject something modern into it. In this one, I'm asking for a recreation of the American Gothic portrait in the original style, but instead of a pitchfork, I asked for the farmer to be holding a smartphone displaying the ChatGPT screen on his smartphone. And here's what I got back from ChatGPT. I think this is really good. It's maybe a little bit hard to see because it's a little bit dark, which is kind of the style of the portrait. But you can see it's got ChatGPT, it's got the logo correctly, which I was really pretty impressed with, and a typical ChatGPT chat screen on the phone. So I thought this did a really nice job. And in fact, it was such a good job, I had to go open the original American Gothic just to see if it had any other differences. And this is the original on the right. I mean, I have to say that is pretty darn good. This one, I think ChatGPT nailed. It 100% kept the original artwork, removed the pitchfork, and just added the smartphone. This would be spot on, exactly what I was looking for. And then here's what we got from Gemini. Now, it definitely has the same feel, it's got the same vibe, but you can see it's wildly different. Like, the farmhouse is different, the farmer and his wife have swapped sides. The smartphone is actually pretty good, with maybe a small exception. So I think this would be another case where if I hadn't seen the one that was so much closer to the original, I would say this is probably fine. I think generally you would know what I was going for here, but after having seen the ChatGPT image, this one loses. And then the final type of photo, which is a photo of a person. And then I'm asking the image model to keep me the same, but change something else, the surroundings or the situation that I'm in, or add something without changing the actual photo. So for this one, I gave it a picture of me and I asked it to edit it so that I'm standing on a TED Talk style stage in front of a large audience with stage lighting and a giant screen behind me that reads AI for everyone. And then keep everything about me the same. And I will say, these are the ones I have been having the most trouble getting the models to recreate. It seems like no matter what I do, something about the image that I send in of myself is always changed. I always end up looking not quite like myself, but like a version of a catalog model who bears some small resemblance to me. So I don't know what that is, but I've been having the most trouble with this one. So here's what ChatGPT gave me. And at first I was a little bit confused because I'm not really on stage. There is a screen. I'm clearly at a TED Talk and there's an audience, but I'm not on the stage. Something about this was just not quite right. So I looked at the image that I got from Gemini, which is this one. And this does have all the parts that I asked for. I'm on a stage. There's an audience in the background. There is a screen. But I think because of the directives I gave it and the photo that I gave it, these models had kind of competing ideas about what exactly they should do with it. And I think that's when I started realizing the pattern here. The Gemini model is filling in a bunch of gaps for me. It's taking what I tell it and then using a little bit more imagination, adding extra sparkly sparkles to a cup of coffee, trying to figure out how to get me on stage, still pointing to a screen and in front of an audience. They had to imagine that there's a screen behind the audience. That kind of makes sense. Whereas the ChatGPT one, it took the photo of me, it did everything I asked, and this was the only way it could figure out the physics of it. I'm pointing to a screen, but can't be pointing to a screen and in front of an audience, so I guess I have to be behind the audience. That actually makes sense. It's the most literal translation. And I will say both of them did do a very good job of taking my photo and not changing what I look like. And honestly, I think that's been the strength of some of these images in Gemini. It fills in the gaps. It's additive. It makes things a little bit prettier, a little bit more magical. It takes some liberties with what I've asked it to do. But that's also the problem. I've gotten so used to being able to ask AI models to kind of intuit what I want them to do, especially with code. I can go into Claude Code and ask it to just create a website for me, maybe, in a particular style, but it knows what the standards are on a website. It knows it needs scrolling, it needs a header and some footers, but images aren't like that. There's no standard for what an image looks like. So when I hand a short, kind of vague prompt to Gemini and it adds something I didn't ask for, sometimes that's a gift. And sometimes it's a Google G when I asked for a Gemini logo. Okay, so here is my final verdict, but more importantly, what I need to do going forward. The best way that I can say it, Gemini is additive. ChatGPT seems to be a little bit more compliant. Gemini seemed to win when the image I was asking for needed a little something added. But ChatGPT actually seemed to do better when I needed it to generate something very specific and literal. It didn't change anything. It just took what I asked it to do and rendered that. And sometimes that is what I want. So what does that say about my favorite model? Did it survive the test? I mean, honestly, barely. It's kind of a split decision. The categories where I use these tools the most, the things with logos and thumbnails, ChatGPT might have a small edge. So I'm not going to stop using it for sure. But Gemini genuinely did a lot better than I expected it to do. So I do think I'm going to start using that more often, but I'm going to have somebody else write the prompt for me. If I just let it run away with its imagination, I think that's why I've been getting so many kind of strange results from it lately. I'm not giving it enough direction. I want it to enhance a little bit, but not completely take over. So I think the takeaway for me, and hopefully for you, if you've been having trouble with images as well, be more specific. So I think I'm going to have to go back to the old school way of writing prompts, which is to tell a chat system what it is I'm looking for and ask it to write a prompt for me. I'm going to get a prompt that's probably 3 times as long as anything I would have put in and far more specific. So if you see yourself in this, give that a try. Let me know if it changes your results as well. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.